Lead Boxing Truth. So I got a question. If Devin Haney doesn't get the Kambosos fight, or he doesn't get Lomo, is it time for him to move on and move up? Because I feel that what's going on with the WBC and how they're just changing stuff on the fly, I feel that Devin Haney has to make a decision in 2022. And so far, I'm proud of the team that he has and the way he's going about with his career, willing to fight the best, willing to put it all on the line, because I know a lot of people question his chin, and it's okay. We need more fighters like Devin Haney, who's willing to fight the best. But at the same time, we also need him to make a decision. If the fighter that he wants to fight has been declared undisputed, either we need to see that fight or we need to see Lomo. I don't want to see any other fight but those two fights. If he can't get those two fights, I really don't want to see any other fights besides those two fights. I don't want to see Gary Russell Jr. because they already tried to make that fight happen and don't want to see it. Definitely don't want to see Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia always, for the last, I think, couple of fights, he's been pulling out of fights. So until he has his mental health problem situated, I don't want to see the Ryan Garcia fight. And I know the Gervonta Tank Davis fight is not going to happen. And Isaac Pitbull Cruz, I don't think there's enough money involved in that fight, and I don't think it's a fight that fans don't really want to see. They're not really demanding that fight. So if he can't get those fights, I suggest that Devin Haney moves up to 140. I also suggest that he gets starts messing around with Blu-ray, because I believe Devin Haney needs to use his power more. We know he has the boxing skills. We know that already. We know he has boxing skills, but he needs to be able to set down on his punches and use his power, and he also needs to sharpen up on his defense. Those two things are the things Devin Haney needs to work on. He doesn't need to work on jabs. He doesn't need to work on his choices of punches, whether it be uppercuts, mixing it up. He doesn't need to work on that. He does need to work on his power. He needs to straighten that jab out, as far as putting more power on that jab, where it makes people think more about coming in on him. And I believe a good defense is gonna neutralize an offense. So if you got that good defense, you're gonna be able to neutralize the offense. This has been said before. Used to play football and everything. This has been said before. With teams, there's a saying that goes, if they don't score, we don't lose. So with a good defense, you're going to stop an offense, and a good output too. So Devin Haney, in my opinion, those two fights need to happen. Something needs to be said in the next 3 or 4 months, or he vacate that WBC Pride belt or whatever they're saying it is right now, and automatically go to 140. And from 140, from 10 to top 10, and start working his way up. because if they're not gonna give him those fights, then he needs to move on. And he tried to fight the best. If they're turning it down, they're turning it down, and they're gonna remember. Just go ahead and make sure that everything, once you get to 140, that you start getting these other belts. You know, don't concentrate on the WBC no more. If they're gonna go through all these little changing this and changing that, go through the IBF way, where they're gonna make the mandatories fight the mandatories, and you're gonna have to fight that person. But if it's already causing problems for him to try to make that weight, then he needs to move on. Plain and simple. This is Lee's Boxing Truth. Please like, comment, and subscribe.